January 26, 1966. Australia Day. The sun is shining bright over Glenelg Beach, a popular spot just outside Adelaide. The air is filled with the sounds of families laughing, waves crashing, and the general joy of a public holiday. For the Beaumont family, it was supposed to be a day like any other, but it would become the day their lives, and the entire nation changed forever. This is the story of Jane, Arna, and Grant Beaumont, three happy children who went to the beach for a day of fun, and simply vanished. It's a case that has haunted Australia for over half a century, a chilling mystery that remains unsolved, and a heartbreaking tale of a family's unending search for answers. 9-year-old Jane was the eldest. Responsible and motherly, she was trusted to look after her younger siblings, 7-year-old Arna, known for her adventurous spirit, and 4-year-old Grant, the playful baby of the family. On that warm summer morning, the children were excited. It was a short, 5-minute bus ride from their home to the beach, a trip they'd made by themselves before. Their mother, Nancy Beaumont, gave them their bus fare and a little extra for some snacks. She waved goodbye as they set off, expecting them back on the 12 o'clock bus. But noon came and went. The 2 o'clock bus arrived, and still, there was no sign of them. Nancy and her husband, Jim, started to worry. A feeling of dread crept in. They began searching, first around their neighborhood, then contacting friends and family. By late afternoon, with no news, they went to the police. The search began immediately, but it was already growing dark. The initial investigation revealed a few puzzling clues. Several witnesses reported seeing the three children on the beach, but they weren't alone. They were seen playing with a tall, thin suntanned man in his mid-30s with fair to blonde hair. Witnesses described him as athletic and clean-cut. He seemed to be friendly with the children, playing and laughing with them in the water. One witness, a postman, knew the children and saw them walking away from the beach around 12:15 p.m. Appearing happy and without any sign of distress, but they were walking in the opposite direction of their home. What's even stranger is that the postman said they were with the same tall, blonde man. This was the last confirmed sighting of the Beaumont children. Later, another witness came forward. A shopkeeper at a local bakery said that Jane Beaumont had come into his shop and bought some pasties and a meat pie with a £1 note. This was unusual. The children only had shillings and pennies with them, not a pound note. Had someone given them the money? The shopkeeper remembered Jane saying, "My mum gave it to me." Was she telling the truth, or just repeating what someone had told her to say? The disappearance triggered one of the largest police investigations in Australian history. The entire country was gripped by fear. Parents who once let their children play freely outside suddenly held them closer. The sense of safety and innocence that had defined Australian life seemed to shatter overnight. The search for the Beaumont children was massive. Police, volunteers, and even the army scoured the coastline, sand dunes, and nearby properties. The search extended across the state, and eventually the entire country. As days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, the leads started to dry up. The description of the blonde man was circulated everywhere, but no one could identify him. The case went cold, but it never left the public consciousness. Over the years, there have been countless theories, false leads, and heartbreaking hoaxes. One of the most significant developments came in 1968, 2 years after the disappearance. The Beaumonts received 2 letters, supposedly from Jane. The first letter described a relatively happy life, mentioning that the man who had taken them was now their guardian. A second letter mentioned a meeting point. Jim and Nancy, desperate for any shred of hope, went to the designated spot, accompanied by a detective. They waited, but no one showed up. Years later, forensic analysis revealed the letters were a cruel hoax, written by a teenager who had read about the case. The family's pain was unimaginable. They never moved from their home in Somerton Park, always holding on to the hope that their children might one day find their way back. They left the lights on, the door unlocked, and their children's rooms untouched for years. Nancy and Jim Beaumont spent their entire lives waiting, a vigil that only ended with their passing. So what happened to Jane, Arna, and Grant? One prominent theory centered on a man named Bevan Spencer von Einem, who was convicted in 1984 for the murder of a young man. His victim's body was found near a drainage pipe, and some investigators believed this location might be linked to other unsolved cases, including the Beaumont. A witness claimed von Einem had bragged about taking the children, but without a confession or physical evidence, the connection remained speculative. Another theory pointed to a factory near the beach. In 2013, a new investigation focused on this site after 2 men came forward, claiming that as children, they were hired by a local businessman to dig a large hole on the property just days after the disappearance. The businessman, a man named Harry Phipps, matched the description of the blonde man seen at the beach. He was a wealthy and influential figure, known to live just a few hundred yards from Glenelg Beach. When police searched his home after his death, they found he had a disturbing history. The excavation of the factory site in 2018, broadcast live on television, captivated the nation once again. But after digging, investigators only found animal bones and rubbish. Another dead end. The case of the Beaumont Children is more than just an unsolved crime, it's a national trauma. It marks the moment Australia lost its innocence. The children's faces, immortalized in black and white photographs, have become a symbol of a mystery that refuses to fade. Their story serves as a constant, sobering reminder of the vulnerability of life and the enduring power of a family's love. Even today, more than 50 years later, the South Australian police have never officially closed the case. There is a $1 million reward for information leading to a conviction. The mystery of what happened on that sunny Australia Day in 1966 continues to baffle investigators and capture the public's imagination.